In this video, I'm going to show you how I make an autographed cheer bow. We sell a lot of autographed cheer bows for events like gifts for coaches, cheer camp, the end of the season, really any activity where you want to have that memory keepsake from that event. To make the bow, I use this special kind of fabric. And this fabric is different than the typical cheer bow fabric that you would use. This has a glossy coating and it allows you to write on the surface without bleeding through to the other side or smearing or anything. You can write on this with ballpoint pen or Sharpie markers or any kind of similar type marker. So I'm using 2 strips. These are 14 inches long and 3 inches wide. And this material is, I don't know if you can really see it in the camera, but it's like an iridescent white. I'm also using 28 inches of 3-inch grosgrain ribbon. This is pink. A cover sheet, so I don't ruin any of my material when I iron. And I'm also going to add this little cutout that says Cheer Camp 2020 to the loop. And some basics I'm using: ponytail holder, a rhinestone center strip, zip tie for the center, and the adhesive dots to help hold it all in place while I fold it. The first thing I'm going to do is iron the fabric onto my ribbon. I already have the ribbon cut to 28 inches. And the autograph fabric that we sell is pre-cut, and it already has the heat and bond adhesive applied to the back. So all you have to do is carefully peel the paper away. And then you are going to line it up with the end of your ribbon. Make sure that it is straight, that your ribbon is straight and your fabric strip is straight. And you cannot put the iron directly on top of this, or really any of the fabrics we sell. It will melt the surface. So what we do is add a pressing cover sheet. Take your iron, and I use a pretty hot setting. It's usually the cotton linen setting. And what's important here is that you don't rub your iron back and forth, because that can cause your fabric to shift, and it's not going to look right on the finished product. So you're going to want to use some decent pressure and just iron in sections. And what I like to do is enough to get it tacked down, and then I go do the other side, and then I go back over it again. Okay, now that I have both of my fabric strips adhere to both sides of the ribbon, I'm going to add my cutout. You can press glitter vinyl on top of this fabric. It's a very slick fabric, so it's not always very accepting to things that you might iron on, but in all of my testing I've had really good luck with cutouts like glitter vinyl. So I'm going to add that to the loop. I do not recommend adding spangles or rhinestones to this surface because it will not adhere very well. And you wouldn't really want to anyway. The point of this fabric is to write on it, and the rhinestones will definitely get in the way of that. So I'm going to use my template mat here to make sure that I align my cutout in the correct spot. So what I'm going to do, so I'm going to find my center here, and then I'm going to fold it down, and it comes to the 28-inch mark here. If you weren't sure exactly the length, if maybe your ribbon wasn't exactly 28 inches or you're not sure of the length, if you just kind of free-handed it, you could do that step first, or if you know exactly the length, then you can just put it right on the mat like this. And this green area right here, I just slide it to the side a little bit so that I can see where these marks start, and I will know exactly where to place my cutout so that it will be visible on the ribbon. So it looks like that is centered nicely. I'm going to take my cover sheet again and then press it directly down. And again, don't rub your iron back and forth so you do not shift your cutout. As you can see, I'm lifting some of the letters here. So before I pull all of this off, I'm going to place it right back down, and I'm going to use a little more pressure in this area right here. Generally, putting cutouts like that on ribbon, it will adhere the best on ribbon. And then fabric, it really depends on the kind of fabric. Some will take a longer press, some will be a shorter press. Just kind of have to press it for like 10 seconds, check it, and then do a little bit more each time until you get everything to adhere. And there we go, perfect. Okay, now that I have my decal on, I'm going to use my mat to get everything aligned. So my center, right in between these fabric strips, is going to go along the stash line. I'm going to take this side that I want to be the back. I'm going to fold it over following the guide, and I'm going to do the same thing with the piece that I want to be the front. And this is where the sticky dots come in handy. A lot of people ask me if you have to have them. And of course the answer is no, you definitely do not have to have them, but they definitely will make your job easier. It will make it easier to fold, and it will hold everything perfectly aligned so you do not have any shifting when you fold your bow. So once you have everything exactly how you want it, these sticky dots have a paper cover, so you just peel it off and just make sure, put it down. That's perfect. And then on this side, I'm going to peel this off first. And then you're going to take your ribbon and you're going to pull it down along the back, align the top with where your crossover starts, and just make sure the center is straight and aligns with where the crossover starts here. And now you're ready to fold. And to fold it, you are going to fold it completely in half, like this. And make sure you have your next pieces ready, zip tie, and a ponytail holder. And now what I do is I take my ribbon and I fold it up like this to line this up, and then back like that. And I do the same thing at the bottom. It's like an accordion. The next step is take your zip tie and just don't lose grip of that fold. This is where the sticky dots come in helpful because it does not allow anything to shift. So you've got your zip tie around your center fold. And some people like to glue these on top. Some people like to include them inside. And I've been adding them in the zip tie lately, and these kind of premium ones that don't have any glue or metal clamp or anything, these do very well inside the zip tie. I really haven't had any break. So I put it in the zip tie and I pull the zip tie part way. And that's where you're going to want to flip it over, and you're going to want to look at your bow and make sure that everything is aligned exactly how you want it to be. If there's any adjustments that you need to make to your loops or your tails or anything, this is the time you want to do it before you tighten that zip tie. Okay, now that I have everything how I want it, I'm going to take that zip tie and pull it as tight as I can. That's going to hold your center secure and your ponytail holder in place. And to do that, you can cut off the excess of your zip tie. And now I'm going to add my center. What I like to do for the centers, zip ties are always going to leave this kind of little chunky part here. So I start by putting a dot of glue right on that. And then I take my, whatever I'm using for my center, these are rhinestone center strips, and I place it over that and cover that first thing. Flip it over and put a little dot of glue here in the middle. Try your best not to over glue that area so that if it does ooze out at all, you don't want that on the front of your bow. And you can continue your center strip around to where you started. If you have any left over, just trim off those little excess rows and it will look like one seamless piece around there. The next thing you're going to want to do is trim your tails. And what I typically do for most of my bows is just fold the ribbon in half, and then about an inch up, I take my scissors and I cut directly to the end. So you get a nice V cut. And then you can take the first one you cut and use that as a guide to make sure that you cut them evenly. You can always adjust it later, but the more you have to adjust it, the shorter and shorter your tails will get. And now you have your tails trimmed. Just to make sure nothing frays, I'm going to use a wood burner and lightly, very lightly, go over the edges. The fabric helps to seal the grosgrain, which tends to fray a lot, but the fabric does help control that. But I still like to put a light touch of the wood burner on there, just to make sure that everything stays looking perfect. And now your autographed cheer bow is ready, and you can use permanent marker like a Sharpie, or even ballpoint pen with this fabric works really well. You can just write directly on the surface, sign my name here, Laura, and here we have, use the thin side of the Sharpie. Cheer Bow Supply. There we go. If you like this video and want to see more like it, be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.